The principles of truth are 7. He who knows these, understandingly, possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open. The Kybalion. Would you believe me if I told you that a short book with more than 100 pages could change your life? Would you believe that a book can contain the principles of cosmos that govern our daily lives and reign your life if you learn them? Do you know that the famous law of attraction is only one of the 7 principles shared in this book? Could you believe that the book summarizes a 5,000 years old wisdom teaching, called Hermeticism, from ancient Egypt? Yes, there is such a book, The Kybalion, Hermetic Philosophy, written by the 3 initiates and published in 1908. The authors did not unveil their names, most probably because the Hermetic philosophy could not be credited to anyone. Therefore, the mysterious authors dedicated the Kybalion to a figure by the name of Hermes Trismegistus, whom they credit for this teaching. Let us start with who Hermes Trismegistus is. Hermes Trismegistus was the alleged teacher of the magical system known as Hermeticism, which unifies magic, alchemy, theurgy, and occultism. The name Trismegistus means thrice greatest Hermes. It is the title given by the Greeks to the Egyptian god Thoth, the lord of wisdom and learning. That is, his name was Thoth in ancient Egypt. Greek and Ionian philosophers traveled to Egypt to learn the esoteric wisdom introduced Hermes to ancient Greece, and they did not hesitate to welcome him as Hermes in their mythology. Iamblichus, ca. 250–300 BC, a Neoplatonic Syrian philosopher, credited Hermes with writing 20,000 books. Manetho, ca. 300 BC, an Egyptian priest who wrote Egypt's history in Greek, credited Hermes with writing over 36,000 books. He was the messenger of Zeus in Greek mythology and was the son of Zeus and Maia. His wand, caduceus, has been a well-known and popular symbol in esotericism. Later, I will write a separate article about Caduceus's secrets as to spiritual evolution and how it is linked to the 7 chakras in Hinduism. In Egypt, he was known to master mystical wisdom, magic, writing, and was associated with healing. Some esoteric researchers state that he was a messenger from Atlantis sent to Egypt, with a mission to start a colony there 16,000 years ago and spread the Osiris doctrine. He is said to be the one who started the ancient Egyptian civilization before the Great Flood. Hermes was known as Hanuk in Judaism, Idris in Islam, and Mercury by Romans. The only manuscript left from Hermes Trismegistus is the Hermetica. It consists of 42 books, including the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. It is a pity that many people are not aware that Hermetic philosophy is the foundation of the 15th century Renaissance that gave rise to Reformation, Enlightenment, and Industrialization periods in Europe. Furthermore, it had a significant influence on modern Western occultism and magic. When Alexander the Great conquered most of the known ancient world 2,300 years ago, he opened a new page in world history, the Hellenistic period. That was a great time when the West and the East met, and people from different cultures learned from each other for the first time at a great scale. Hermetic philosophy heavily influenced the Rise Hellenistic period, serving as a melting pot in Egypt. The Alexandria Library, which is an hour away to the north of Cairo, used to be the biggest library in the ancient world, serving as a library and as a scientific research center in a more primitive way than today. The philosophers studied steam power, the basics of fluids and mechanics, and even built primitive mechanical robots, automata, not known until the end of the Renaissance later. After Alexander the Great died, the Hellenistic heritage continued under the rule of the Roman Empire, but was not as strong as before. Neoplatonists and the early Gnostics used this heritage until the Roman Empire at the end of 4th century AD, splitting into 2 empires. Carl Sagan calls the next 1,000 years, from 5th century to 15th century AD, a dark period of 1,000 years. It was a period when religion prevailed in the medieval period, silencing all different voices and erasing the marks of the ancient Hellenistic heritage in the Western world. Luckily, Islamic philosophers in the Middle East preserved the ancient wisdom and improved it further until the Europeans learned it from them. The Crusader Wars were to acquire the treasures and learn the wisdom of the Middle East. Their more than a century-long presence in Jerusalem unveiled the secrets of the ancient teachings to Knights Templars, who brought them to Italy and Europe. Rediscovery of the Hellenistic wisdom teachings and the Hermetic philosophy started the Renaissance period, changing the world forever. The hegemony of religion would fall in the next 300 years, following the Renaissance, letting science rise like a sun illuminating all the dogmas, ignorance, and bigotry of humankind. That should be a good summary to explain the influence of Hermeticism on modern Western civilization. I will not attempt to explain how it influenced Kabbalah and Western occultism. Let us go back to the 7 Hermetic principles now. The principles of truth are 7. He who knows these, understandingly, possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open. The Kybalion. 1. The principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental. The Kybalion. Spinoza's universe was pantheistic, meaning it was assumed to be the body of God. God equals universe. Could it be that simple? I do not think so. Like a human made of flesh and bones having a spirit, the universe cannot be limited to the physical appearances and limitations. Therefore, Hermeticism has a pantheistic approach that puts all, the supreme creator, beyond all. The paragraphs you will read in Hermetica will convince its reader within a minute that the writer believed in one God, even before the heavenly religions emerged in the Middle East. Creation has 2 folds: first a mental creation and then a physical creation. The body serves as a vehicle for the spirit. Similarly, the universe serves as the platform for the all to create life, for a purpose beyond human understanding. Everything emanates from an invisible source. Visibilia ex invisibilibus. Oneness came out of nothingness and became duality. Duality became plurality when different shades of opposites appeared and interacted with each other. Plurality served as a platform for life to exist in the form we know. Do you now see how all is the mind? Everything started as a result of a grand architect and his divine plan. In modern terms, we know that the universe is a soup of superstrings and other subatomic particles of the quantum world. Everything is made of energy, and quantum fluctuations feed this cosmic soup for a reason we do not yet understand. This physical plane of existence we live in is more than what we see. The ancient sages were correct. 2. The principle of correspondence. As above, so below, as below, so above. The Kybalion. The principles governing the universe are the same no matter where you go. Understanding this principle helps a seeker learn the secrets of the grand architect and his divine art, the microcosmos. Anything smaller than a nanometer is considered microcosmos, and anything bigger than that is macrocosmos. The universe is based on 4 fundamental forces. Electromagnetic, strong, and weak forces govern the microcosmos, and gravitational force runs the show in the amarocosmos. They all depend on the same principles of physics we could not solve yet. The best theory we have is membrane theory, which tries to develop one formula to explain all laws of physics. The ancients knew that the one who knows himself would also know God. One of the ancient symbols of Hermetics was V.I.T.R.I.O.L, which was an acronym for the following words: Visita interiori terrae rectificando invenis occultum lapidem. It means visit the interior of the earth and, by purifying yourself, you will find the hidden stone. Do you remember the Philosopher's Stone from Harry Potter? Socrates used to summarize it in a shorter quote, "Know thyself." Only if you know that this quote belongs to Chilon of Sparta, and Socrates somehow got the credit for using that, most probably because of his visit to Apollon Temple in Delphi to talk to the Pythia, the women who had the prophecies. The only way to look inside and understand the grand divine theme and the macrocosmos is through the mind and the heart. The mind is a blessing we are granted as long as we know how to use it with the heart. We, humans, are special beings that unify both the microcosmos and the macrocosmos with our bodies and our souls. The part has the information of the whole. 3. The principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. The Kybalion. Thanks to the quantum revolution for unveiling the mysteries of the subatomic world. It opened the doors of a realm of possibilities. Newton's laws helped us discover and formulate the deterministic world of macrocosmos. At the same time, quantum mechanics blew our minds off with the discovery of a realm of probability, unclarity, superposition, and entanglement. We are now using Newton's law of motion to explain the macrocosmos and the standard model of quantum mechanics to explain the microcosmos. Since the middle of the 20th century, scientists have been working on the theory of everything to develop a formula that explains the laws of both the microcosmos and the macrocosmos. It started as string theory and then evolved into membrane theory, describing the fundamental particle of existence as superstrings that are nothing but energy strings. Everything in the universe is made of superstrings that vibrate. Changes in their vibration cause the three fundamental particles and the four fundamental forces of the universe. The physical existence is nothing but a rigid form of condensed energy. Everything vibrates as if to prove the hypothesis of Tycho's 2,600 years ago. 4. The principle of polarity. Everything is dual, everything is poles, everything has its pair of opposites, like and unlike are the same, opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree, extremes meet, all truths are but half-truths, all paradoxes may be reconciled. The Kybalion. The universe is based on the dance of the opposites. This dance is like the movement of a pendulum swinging in both directions. No matter how enlightened you are, you cannot escape it physically. Still, you can mentally reach unity and rise above the dualistic swing of the pendulum. Look at life and the phoneme around you. If there is good, there is also evil. You will find both right and wrong, beautiful and ugly, fair and unfair in play in life. Nothing stays the same because of the dynamic balance in the universe. Everything in the universe is subject to change since the moment of the Big Bang that gave the universe its momentum. Even the smallest subatomic particles that we perceive as dead or not living vibrate beyond our spectrum of perception. Therefore, every truth is half true, every wrong is half wrong. There is a limit for the mortals to perceive immortality and eternal truths. 5. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in, everything has its tides, all things rise and fall, the pendulum swing manifests in everything, the measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left, rhythm compensates. The Kybalion. Big Bang created the first momentum of the movement, and movement created change. Change is the reason for time to exist. The cosmic duality combined with movement creates a rhythm, as explained by a sinus wave. Everything rises and declines because of the principle of duality in motion under the influence of surrounding external multiple factors. 6. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause, everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. The Kybalion. This is a deterministic universe, meaning that every cause has an effect. Each effect is the cause of another effect. That is why a simple butterfly can make a big effect somewhere else in the universe unexpectedly. Cause and effect depend on the principle of polarity. The cause acts as the masculine principle to start something, and the feminine principle responds with an opposing force. Stimulus and reaction. This principle is the main reason for the universe to serve as a school of spiritual evolution for the immortal spirit confined in a physical vehicle as a result of a pre-chosen destiny. 7. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything, everything has its masculine and feminine principles, gender manifests on all planes. The Kybalion. The principle of polarity impacts everything in life. Nothing is one except the all, and therefore everything in the universe includes both the good and evil, or in other terms, anode and cathode principles in life. There is good in everything evil and evil in everything good as symbolized with the ancient chi symbol from Taoism, yin-yang. Carl Jung describes this as anima and animus in the human psyche. Here are the 7 principles that govern the universe and life. Learn them well if you want to rise above the pendulum of polarity and reign your life. Cheers. Keenan.